Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, September 1st, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. This was a great episode. We're going to be covering the ANW9 Denver Finals.
Yeah, man. A lot of people in my fantasy league was on that, and a lot of my favorite ninjas were on this episode, too, so it was really fun. Ooh, that wedge, it came back, man, and I was excited. It is so hard, but it's one of those obstacles where it's not like it's not unfair or anything like that. So I like it. It's difficult and just a beast of an obstacle.
Yeah, I like it and I don't. I'm a little confused on it. It seems a little unfair in some ways, but then you see people do it, so I'm not sure. I'm a little mixed emotion on it.
How do you feel it's unfair?
I don't know. It seems like... Well, basically, it's Brian Arnold. I think it's unfair to Brian Arnold to keep putting that obstacle in front of him. The bottom line.
Well, you have to imagine it's going to be on stage 2 again, man. Like that double wedge. So, in many ways, he got a chance to do the real thing again. He's got a kind of a leg up.
He's done it more than anyone, I think, hasn't he? That's 3 times he's tried it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not a big fan of that fact, but, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks. But we'll get to that, of course. And we're also going to be talking about some of the digital exclusives that American Ninja Warrior puts out on YouTube, and the National Ninja League, and some news about one of our favorite ninjas and their retirement. Lots to talk about.
Yep, just a little bit.
So first up, what do you think of the course and the new obstacles we saw? Were you pretty pleased with the new one?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed I'm not a big fan of the name of the Ninjago Roll. I think it's a wink and a nod. I get it, but it's like, ugh. But at least it wasn't super bad. Could you imagine, like, they could have really, like, rammed Ninjago down our throats. It wasn't that obtrusive. But I have to say, in terms of that obstacle, wow, was that creative. I am a huge, huge fan of that. Not only, like, it's bad enough that it's on a ramp that ascends and then descends, right? And you have to, like, control it. But some of those, like, slabs or whatever you want to call it roll as well, like, independently. That's crazy, man. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, this course was nuts. As soon as you look at it, you're like, all right, we already had one of the toughest qualifiers, or the toughest qualifier they've ever had, the lowest number of finishers. Only 8 actually people finished the qualifier. And then tag onto that the wedge, like one of the most infamous ninja killers of all time, and this crazy Ninjago roll thing that they brought out, and the elevator climb. So yeah, I was pretty much thinking we had no finishers in this episode, which didn't end up being true, thankfully, but I knew it was going to be really low, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. I had a feeling at least one of the Wolfpack would make it. And I kind of expected somebody else to make it too. I don't know why, but I kind of felt like we'd have 2 finishers this episode. Very quickly apparent it was not going to be the case.
Yeah.
That wedge is a beast, man.
The wedge is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So it was a good course. I think it was tough but fair. We didn't have any really breaking obstacles, ones that just don't make any sense. The wedge is... it's pretty close to me, but it's okay, I guess.
To me, the only, like, anytime you have a trampoline involved, that's the one that scares me. So if there was anything, it'd be the bouncing spider. But it wasn't bad.
Yeah, the bouncing spider's a little weird. It's a weird combination of obstacles that don't really flow very well. But I think it's fair and just a little odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get into this episode, though.
Yeah, definitely. So first to take the course was Ian Weber, a shaker board champion, which I had no idea was a thing.
I still to this day, is that a thing though? For real? Like, they have championships, but like, do you know anybody that does shaker boarding?
No.
I had no idea. Like,
well, they have air guitar championships. They have rock, paper, scissors championships. Yeah, they totally do.
Wow. I guess I'm out of the loop, man. I just...
Yeah.
Championships for everything.
But the shaker board thing actually was kind of cool. I actually liked it when he demonstrated. I thought that was actually pretty neat.
No, it's a really cool talent. I mean, props to him. I just had no idea they had championships for it. But yeah, that's really cool. And I'm glad, and most importantly, I'm just glad he has, a passion for what he does. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you enjoy it.
Yep, totally agree with that. But Ian had gone out on the rail runner in qualifying, and I didn't think he was going to be doing so well here. As he hit the ring swing, he took 3 swings on the ring swing before he was able to dismount. Like, he was just taking forever to get off of there.
Yes, he was.
Which was not boding very well for him. And he ended up going out in the bouncing spider. He just got a low bounce off and hit the skinny pipe and just couldn't hold on, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to say about that, I guess, overall.
Not really.
No.
I have a lot to say about the next run, though.
Yeah, the next run we had Larissa Cottle, a concrete worker, which has become the new identifier for Ninja Warrior, apparently. Besides, pole vaulting, concrete work is definitely a good indicator of skill. She noted how it's very tough to be a working mom, and how she gets judged for her appearance, being covered in tattoos and having dreadlocks and stuff, which I thought she looked very cool. I don't think anyone would, second guess that at all. I think she looks like the coolest mom ever.
Mm-hmm. It's a really neat look. It's creative.
Yeah. So she missed the ring the first couple of times, and she was swinging for a long time. She eventually managed to recover it somehow, which I really just thought her run was over way earlier than it was.
Oh, yeah.
She managed to beat it, which was very, very cool. And then she got up in the rail runner, and how much arm and grip strength does this lady have? Because she was up there forever. She wasn't able to beat the rail runner, but she showed how strong she is. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was amazing, dude. And not just that. I mean, the commitment and everything she did. I've got some stats for you guys, but I just need to call it now. And this is going to be a bit surprising for everybody, I know. But Larissa, you are tied for the athletically profound run of the night. Congratulations. Now, I feel like maybe most people are like, she didn't go to Vegas. Why is that? Well, let me tell you guys. Between 3 obstacles, when she was hanging on the rope for the floating steps, and then she was hanging on the rings for the ring swing, and her hanging for the rail runner. Throughout those 3 obstacles, she was at a dead hang for over 2 minutes. I just tallied the time, and it was 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And in 2 of those obstacles, it was over 50 seconds. The sheer commitment that she gave to this course is unlike you rarely see. When you think back to this course, and you look at both the qualifiers and the finals, if somebody misses their first time on the ring swing, they usually fall in the water. She gave it her all, and she kept going at it. She was not giving up. Then the rail runner. What do you see most times? Maybe 2 tries, maybe 3 tries, you slide down, you're done. You just give up. She was not giving up. She gave it everything she had and then some. The sheer commitment and will that she showed on this course was absolutely phenomenal. I cannot praise her enough. Yeah, she didn't make it, but boy, did she get so much in the alternative. You can't ask for a more entertaining, motivating run. And I really give her all the props in the world.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She is someone we have to watch out for, because with that kind of grip strength and perseverance, God knows where we're going to see her in a year or 2. Just give her some time. I really think she's someone to watch for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, pain, lactic acid build, all of that, it's not going to hold her down. She's going to give it her all. I don't care. I can imagine her just ripping out a shoulder and be like, I got another one. Let's keep going. It's just, man, she laid it all on the line. I really respect that.
Yeah. And next to take the course was Bart Copeland, the concrete ninja.
Dude, you got something going on with that, with construction concrete. I mean, we're getting a lot of that. Yeah.
I mean, between them and Adam Rail, I mean, that's a pretty good indicator that we hadn't really caught onto before. But Bart, I don't know. And in his segment, he says, we had 2 kids, and I thought, oh God, don't do this to me. What do you mean you had 2 kids? And they just cut over to, they adopted another kid from Uganda. It's like, okay, good. That's much better than I thought you were going to go.
I was not expecting, like, the music was way too upbeat, dude. Like,
I know.
That would have been such a blindside. That would have been terrible, man.
I know. My brain was kind of racing, like, why is the music so upbeat? What is going on? Like, why did they say that? But yeah, no, they adopted a kid from Uganda at 38 now.
Kid is so cute.
The kid's very cute.
All their children are cute, but
all
man.
The kids are. But yeah, he did really, really well. He made it to the wedge. I was really impressed. He got most of the way across, but ended up falling off backwards when his fingers peeled off. But yeah, it was a really good run.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's real. I get really scared when I see people do the wedge without doing the cross grip. And it's really 50-50, like a double-edged sword. With the cross grip, man, on the wedge, you have to be perfectly straight. And it's so hard to do that going with a cross grip. But then if you got like a straightforward grip, I mean, your fingers can peel off so easily going backwards. So it's really a double risk. I don't know what the better way to do it is. I'd have to imagine the cross grip if you can do it. But man, I was really worried just seeing him. Like, as soon as he started Lachey, I'm like, uh-oh, that might spin out underneath him.
Yeah, I will have to reference back to Jesse Graff talking about the wedge to us last year and talking about the cross grip. Now, she had trained the cross grip because she was having trouble with the salmon ladder originally, so she got very used to the cross grip, but she really said that it was a problem for those that tried to use it that weren't used to it. It's not something that the wedge isn't the place to basically be trying that out for the first time.
Nope. You have to be like picture perfect on that thing. And you've seen on cross grip, that thing like shoots out from underneath you real quick, one way or the other, on left side or right side.
Yep. And we saw a lot of those this episode. We saw a lot of different ways you can fall on the wedge.
Sure did. I honestly think we're going to see a whole lot of that on Stage 2. I can't see them not bringing back double wedge. I think that is just going to be a staple from here on out. And it's very apparent there are some obstacles that people figure out the second year going forward. Wedge is not one of them.
Well, what's funny is I get pinged all the time. I get emails, tweets, and whatnot. And people, thankfully, do not send me spoilers, but they do tend to send me little tidbits of information. And I don't go and validate them. So I don't know if this is true, but I think the wedge is not in Vegas this year, from what I hear.
Boo! That sucks.
So we'll see.
I am a big fan of the double wedge. I can see them not wanting two people on the third stage again. I think they want more people than that.
Yeah, I think it's just too much, maybe. Next to take the course was Brandon Todicini, the Navajo ninja, whose father was a code talker in World War II, which is a very, very cool piece of history.
Dude, there's so much cool about this segment. First of all, it's one of my favorite vignettes of the season.
Yeah, it was great.
It's so hard to describe, but like, we get all these sad stories, we get the beat stories and everything. This is very different. And it was so refreshing seeing somebody in Native American culture represented on this show. I mean, when you think about American culture and everything, and all the different racial groups represented, a group that's very, very not misrepresented, but underrepresented is Native Americans. And it's really refreshing seeing a Native American on this show. For American Ninja Warrior, it makes sense. And not just that, representing his culture. And I'm not an expert when it comes to Native American culture and everything, but usually when it comes to the news, we see some of the sad sides of depression and like everything going on with that. It's really refreshing seeing a really upbeat personality and representation of his culture there. And I don't know, I'm a huge fan of this guy, a huge fan of the video, him showing him on the reservation training and everything, him training younger kids. I mean, it was really, really cool. I loved everything about it. And I really hope we see more like that.
Yeah, he definitely had some interesting things, especially he had so much that it actually went past his segment. So as he was running the course, we even got some more information, some really relevant things that he has no like athletic background whatsoever from what they described. Even his high school had no sports teams. Like, he is definitely a self-made ninja from what we can see. Yeah,
and there's something really cool about a non-athlete being on this show. I always say it, but American Ninja Warrior and Sasuke in the heart of this is really still about the average Joe going on this show and doing exorbitant things. Yeah, we get all of these professional athletes that excel, but I always find it really refreshing and fun seeing somebody that's like, hey, I'm just a dude, and I'm going to try my best on this course and actually excel. It's fun.
Yeah, so when we get to his actual run, he was really struggling on the bouncing spider, and I had to laugh because normally they don't zoom in to the degree that they did on the shoes, and the New Balance logo was there, and I thought, New Balance is kicking themselves right now, like just screaming at the TV, like, no, if you're going to zoom in on the shoes, don't do it when it's slipping on the wall. Like, it's the worst promo they've ever had for New Balance shoes.
I don't think people were focused on the New Balance logo that much, man.
It was really, it was, I don't look at them for that at all, and it was right in your face. Like, it definitely stood out.
Man, I was just so focused on him slipping, and I was like, because he was like right at that line, dude, and I'm like, just drop, or not drop, but like just jump off and go to the spring, man. It would have been so anticlimactic if his feet just fell underneath that line and that's it. That would have been the worst. But at least he hit the balance and the trampoline and everything. Yeah,
and he was even able to beat the rail runner this time, which had taken him out in the qualifying, and he ended up going out on the warped wall, which is simultaneously the most frustrating and kind of cool in a weird way. Like, it's so, you're just trying to will them up the wall in that third attempt. The fact that they don't just fail right away, they have 3 attempts at it, I think makes it just that much more exciting.
Yeah, I like that.
But a great run. Definitely hoping we get to see him again next year, and we get to see him actually beat that warped wall.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of the times where there's an exception for the Thomas Stillings rule of, if you're on this show, you should be able to do the warped wall. I don't know where this guy has a chance to train for the warped wall, so yeah, he gets a pass.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little tough for some people. Next to take the course, we had Jerry Dorilio, and she had a nice little segment. We get to learn a lot more about her, who we've seen coming up in the local competitions and have been following her on the show. She's a JAG attorney. She has a backyard course. Very cool, very well put together one from the looks of it, too.
Yeah, very intricate. Did she build that thing? Because it's like, does this woman sleep?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who built it, but they did a really good job because a lot of the backyard courses look, they're whatever. They look like I made, they look homemade. This thing looks professional. Like, it looks solid, looks very well, very polished, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when she took the course, she ended up doing a front flip coming off the paddle boards again, which is pretty cool. She ended up losing her grip on the second handles on the rail runner, so trying to make that transition, she ended up going out, but she did a good job.
Yeah, fantastic job. That rail runner is no joke, so I can't fault anybody for missing that. And yeah, I don't know, it was a very clean run, very good. I can't say she struggled too much through it, other than the rail runner, and that was just, crap happens.
So then we had some fast forwards, including Carson Voiles, who had a very close call.
That surprised me.
Not me. They really like to fast forward to him. He's up there. He's entering the Andrew Lowe's territory at this point. Nicholas Coolidge, Carson Voiles is right in there with them.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Dude's always just like the others. He's good. I mean, way better than they represent him to be.
Yeah, he had a close call on the paddle boards, but held on. He ended up going out on the wedge, and then the dude, the main guy we've been waiting for me anyway. This is like one of the run I was waiting for most for Denver was Brian Arnold, especially.
I was so confused. I was like, who's the dude?
The dude.
I was like, did I miss somebody?
I think I've given him a new nickname. Brian Arnold takes the course, facing the wedge once again, and they do, of course, do the hype video for that. I didn't need that. I was really excited when I saw he was going to get another shot at it.
Well, just going before that, man, he said he broke his nose on the transition of the rail runner, and I'm like, what? Because they try to act like, this is like weeks later, but it's the next day. I mean, that's rough. I don't know. They said he broke his nose, but man, I don't know how you break your nose and you just look fine the next day. I mean, I've never broken my nose. I don't know. Maybe it's that simple. Like, you just crack it back into place and move on with your life. But, I'd be terrified going on that rail runner if I broke my nose on it.
Yeah, I was glued to the set when he was doing that transition, like how he took a few extra swings. You got to figure he was nervous and trying to figure it out.
Don't blame him. Yeah. Take your time, bro. Figure it out.
He ended up banging his head a little bit on that one too, but overall he was good. They did a mid-run start, which I actually like. And
yeah, I'm starting to really like that. The more it's going along, the better it is. Because it's usually with people where it's like, yeah, of course they've gotten through the first half. We don't need to see it.
Exactly. Why waste a minute or two showing him beating the floating steps? We get it. We know he's going to get past there. Mm-hmm. But he did fail the dismount on the wedge, unfortunately. He did better. He definitely got a lot further along at this time. So
he was so close, man.
It wasn't the impossibility that I thought it might be. That it was just I don't know. I don't know what it was. It seemed like he was wedged down there so hard in Vegas last time, where he was like hanging onto one side and like he had tons of energy. He just couldn't get the thing to unstick from the stupid wedge.
Yeah, and people always allude to it. However they build it, it gets really stuck in there. And like Brian Arnold, this was a time where he was close enough and he looked fresh. I mean, I really thought he had it. Everything was there. I think he just needed maybe to like scoot that wedge just 1 inch closer or have a tougher lache. But it's like all that's armchair quarterbacking, because it's like at that moment, it's a game of seconds. You know, the wedge is not something you should be taking your time on. So I don't know, man. We saw like Lorin Ball barely get in later on. Yeah. So it's like, well, the wedge one is one of those big question marks.
It took out a lot of people. Next one being Dan Yager in the fast forwarded.
Oh, man. Poor Dan Yager. Like, how often has he been skipped at this point? And the dude's so good.
Yeah, he gets a little shout out at least. We'll see. Maybe he did well in Vegas and we'll get to see more of him.
I would not be shocked if he makes it to stage 2 or 3. Really wouldn't.
Wait, didn't Dan have a really good segment in the qualifier?
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did, because
shows how much I remember. What was the story?
He had the reunion with his dad because...
Oh, yes! That's right!
Yeah, Dan got some love this season.
All right, good. You go, Dan. I'm just the guy with a short-term memory, apparently.
It's hard, man. There's a lot of ninjas. Anybody listening... Yeah, it's easy to remember a little bit here and there, and what I'm telling you, when you got to try to remember everybody, it's really hard.
Yeah, my mind's just blank.
That made 7 wedge fails that we had so far, and as soon as they said that, it was like, I really wish they hadn't said it. It was a little spoilery. I was kind of figuring Lorin might do it since he was the next to take the course.
Really?
Since we're keeping
I
count.
did not see it as a spoiler at all. I kind of felt like it was going to be the new cutoff. You know, the theme is for the finals this entire season is that there's one obstacle. It just cuts out all the field, and maybe like 1 or 2 people pass it, and that's it. So I really wasn't expecting much of anybody passing it. Yeah, there was a hope Lorin Ball would make it, but I didn't think it was a spoiler at all for Lorin Ball.
Yeah, I might be overstating
especially, a little bit. No offense to Lorin Ball, but especially him when it comes to his past history of being so agile and everything, but the upper body obstacles really being his downside.
Yeah, to some extent, and mainly the finals courses, right? He hasn't finished a finals since season 4, they said.
That was a shocker. I didn't know that, dude. Did you, like, I don't know. It's Lorin Ball. Sometimes you just expect something from people.
I thought he finished, season 6. I mean, definitely didn't think it would have been 4.
Same, man. I was expecting him to, like, finish a whole lot more than that. I think it's just because we always see him in Vegas that we just assume that, he passes the finals.
Yeah. Yeah, he makes the top 15, but not necessarily completing the finals, I guess is the difference.
Yeah.
So last year he went out on the rolling log, and he's been working with the Wolfpack, so that was cool. Didn't see that coming.
Hey, if there's a group to work out with to train your upper body, it's the Wolfpack, man.
Yeah, that'll work. He was so great in the first half. I mean, he always is, but geez, he just makes it look easy. He
really does.
Oh, he floats through the floating steps, just amazing.
Effortless, but like this guy's cardio is on point. Like he never looks fatigued.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And he beat the wedge, as you noted.
Woo! Did you see how close?
Oh, it was close. It was definitely close.
Oh man, I screamed. Man, that guy got so close. Props to him, though. Like, he's got such good control of his body. He used his upper body momentum to really hurl himself over that. Because a lot of other competitors would have fallen backwards. His legs were scooted down, and he could have easily, like, shifted his weight down to his legs and fallen right down off the pad. But instead, he scooted his upper body with the momentum and weight, and he was able to get up that thing. So props to him.
Yeah, great job. Very excited when it happened. especially since that meant we got to see the Ninjago Roll. Oh my God, that is a terrible name.
Every time you say that, like, I just think of a sushi roll. Like, seriously, all I think about is sushi.
Yeah, it's not a great name. Really reminded me of the Rolling Thunder, but amped up. And I don't know, 150 pounds they said it is?
Really?
Yeah, it seems like that's not going to be impossible, but it weighs more than some of the ninjas. Like, is that even going to be... Are they going to be able to move it?
So, in many ways, this is like a Rolling Thunder on steroids.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it weighs more, it's got an elevation of slope, it's got independent rolling bars on it. I mean, there's so many things to this obstacle. This is an obstacle you see on, like, stage 3 or something, dude.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's cool, but, woo, that's asking a lot of peeps.
Especially as, like, the penultimate obstacle, right? You've gone through everything else, including the wedge. Yeah, it just seems like a lot to ask of somebody. And he said it's the toughest obstacle he's ever attempted on the show. And he's been on every season, so that says something. Yeah,
that guy definitely knows his obstacles. I mean, that says a lot. And I don't know, the clacker this thing is not. This thing's a beast. This is not an easy course, guys.
But great job by Lorin Ball. I was very, very impressed. And very, very excited to see him moving on.
Yeah, props to him. I mean, he got super far. So, I don't know. Lorin Ball kills it. And I don't know. Lorin Ball's a guy I'm never shocked to beat stage 1. He's always a guy that I'm always curious how well he'll do in stage 2. That's something to look out for.
Next, we had some more fast forwards, including... you'd be very excited to hear, Bijan, that Ryan Suter, one of the Suter 7, will be moving on to LA. He ended up going out in the wedge.
Just, I don't know. Even in the clip, so I was getting annoyed. Just
yeah, it's a little much.
I'm sure he's like the nicest guy on the planet. He seems like a diehard, but I don't know. I can't.
It's just that, like, they really, really overhyped the family, like, so much.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, moving on. Speaking of family, we have Dalton Knapp taking the course, the younger brother of Drew Knapp. Dalton is a cancer survivor. His brother Drew competed for him last year, which I remember quite well. He was very, very good. But Dalton is a totally different build from his brother. He's 21 now, so he's able to compete, but he's 5'5" and only 120 pounds. He's a really, really tiny little guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really refreshing to see both of them run. I mean, we might as well just cover both their runs, right?
Yeah, might as well.
And I really liked him. First of all, the younger brother, Dalton did great for his size. It's very clear, like, his brother is kind of Daniel Radcliffe on. I can't say steroids, but just like a buffed up version of Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
sorry, that's all I see when I see his
Me
brother.
too.
But he doesn't necessarily have that build, but yet he did great on this show. And when they really amp up and accentuate his past history, I mean, at one point this kid had like almost zero like body muscle and everything. I mean, that's really a lot to come back from, and he's relatively young, so I really give him all the props in the world. And once again, I give a lot of props to his brother as well, because his brother, it's one thing to like act like, oh, I'm a loving brother and everything, and here's my brother's sad story, but like this guy genuinely cares, and you can see it. You can see the love and the I guess camaraderie that we get from both of these brothers, and it's never annoying or over the top or anything. It's just a really cool, like low-key brotherly love, and I really appreciated that. I'm really happy for both. They both killed it, man.
Yeah, they did. So Drew ended up going out in the wedge, so he will be going on to Vegas. Dalton, unfortunately, wasn't quite able to complete the salmon ladder. He went out on the second to last rung. He did a really good job.
He got so close.
Oh, crazy. Oh, if he could have just reached out, he would have had it.
Yeah, it's one thing if you go out like the second rung of the salmon ladder, but when you're like right there at the end of the salmon ladder and you fall, you're like, ah! Brutal, man. But at least he's got Daniel Radcliffe to root for.
Yeah, you can't stop Knapp.
Not the biggest fan of that phrase, but I know
you're not. Yeah, so we move on to Matt Dolce, rookie, the flying pharmacist, who had a really cool segment with bikes and scooters and ski biking and all these crazy extreme sports. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, and he had missing the handlebars in the qualifier, and he's like, we can't have that happen because I know Matt and Akbar are going to talk about it if I miss the handlebars again.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that he realized how they operate, and he realized what he's setting himself up for if he does it.
Yeah, dude's diehard. He's a fan. He listened to our podcast, and like, just I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Matt Dulce. He definitely shows a next level commitment to not only American Ninja Warrior, but really just having fun. And you know, as we said, we got to see all of his hobbies and everything, doing all these extreme sports and like things. And I don't know, it just seems like a really fun guy. It was really cool. Not to mention, he's a pharmacist, dude. It's like, yo, I got like this relatively low key, chill job, but yet I'm dope. And this is all the stuff I do on the side, you know? It's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, he was able to beat the rail runner this time, and he went out at the top of the salmon ladder. If he had touched the other bar, he'd be
dude, once again, why? Brutal, man. I don't know. Just when you fall at the top of the salmon ladder, just ouch. Just it kills a part of me.
Yeah, but a great job, Matt. Absolutely look forward to seeing you again, especially your cool segments with the neat stuff you do. Next, we had a couple of notable fast forwards, including Sam San, who disqualified on the paddleboard. Speaking of the worst way to go out, like, jeez, that just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, he was battling a really bad back injury from what I remember in the qualifier. So, I mean, I just more importantly hope that he's okay.
Yeah, actually, that's probably good.
If there's a way for him to go out, trust me, there are much worse ways to go out, especially on this course with the obstacles coming up. I mean, I don't know. I don't need to see him do the rail runner and hurt himself or anything like that.
Michael Stanger also got fast forwarded, who went out on the salmon ladder this time.
I don't know. They always feature Michael Stanger like hardcore with his story and his wife and everything. It was interesting they got fast forwarded, but I mean, we've had so many good ninjas this episode. I can't really fault it too much.
Yep. And he got a big segment in the qualifier, so they usually split them up a bit. Next to take the course was Jesse Lucero. He spent 29 days in the walk-on line, which they mentioned might be a record.
Think about that. He spent pretty much a month in the walk-on line. Like, that is insane. I don't know. Like, when I think about how long my month's been, I can't even fathom that.
Yeah, 29 days is ridiculous. Like, I don't know, the level of commitment, like, you got to be really, really obsessed with this show, and you better be really good. And he was really good.
Could you imagine if he, like, fell on, like, the second obstacle of the qualifiers after spending a month?
It's got to happen. There's going to be ones. I mean, obviously, sleeping in a tent, I mean, all those things that you do sitting in the walk-on line can't be helping your chances. You're going to be tired. You're not going to be well rested, well fed, presumably.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, where does he even like wait at a month before? You know, if you go to like Venice, you can't camp out right a month before at Universal Studios. Like, I don't even know how that stuff works, man.
Yeah, we'll have to in the off season. We'll have to have somebody from the walk-on line come on the show and talk about it.
We're gonna have to, because I'm really curious about that. Now I think about like the logistics of it. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so if you're listening right now and you have been in the walk-on line, let us know. We'll provide all the contact info at the end, as we always do. But Jesse did great. He beat the rail runner this time, and he beat the Wedge.
How awesome was that? If there's one person that you just want to beat, like, everything, it's a dude that's waited a month in the walk-on line. Like, that is the epitome of a Cinderella story right there. I'm so happy for this guy.
We've had so many walk-ons do so well this season, and he's just another example.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this guy might just be the ultimate representation of that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point.
I mean, you can't say, oh, I waited 2 weeks in the walk-on line. How cool am I? I mean, this dude's like, yo, I got you, son.
He did end up going out on the Ninjago roll. He just couldn't get it over the hill, the big ramp hill, whatever you want to call it. He couldn't get it over the hump either. But yeah, a great attempt. Like, I didn't know that it was going to be possible at that point. It just seemed like an almost insurmountable course. And then it was like, well, Ian Dory's taking it. If there's anybody that can do it, you know it's going to be Ian.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just, once again, never sleep on Ian Dory, man.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
But before even that, just once again, major props to this guy. I mean, what he did, really impressive, especially with how long he waited in that walk-on and everything. It's not even that he fell in the Ninjago roll. He got halfway through that obstacle. Just huge props.
Yeah, definitely. So Ian has never failed to complete a qualifier or finals course. That is really impressive. I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, and I don't know, with what they kept harping on that, right, Rich? And I was thinking they were setting us up for him failing.
Yep, a little bit.
And I was getting where I'm like, why do they keep harping on this? Like, that is that is ominous as heck. But even before that, it was really cool seeing his family. His daughter is so freaking adorable. Yeah, just really cool on that front. But his run, once again, this guy was just beast emoting this course, and he had some close calls with it. Like, he was gritting his teeth. You could tell it was not a walk in the park for him. He really had to tough some parts of this course out, which I respect even more. And I don't know, it was really cool, especially seeing him get through that wedge, and then him really showing how the Ninjago roll can be done. I mean, the guy really figured out that obstacle fairly quickly, and I don't know, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he was grimacing through that wedge. Like, he just, through a lot of the course, he looked like he was in a lot of pain, and he was just pushing through with everything he had. And he noted how tired he was when it was all over, and he's interviewing. Like, it was a really, really tough course. And we did, like you said, we get to see the Ninjago roll, and I was starting to wonder, like, how is it, when it comes down the back side of that, what's going to happen? Is it going to roll? Are they going to have to, like, how does that work? But he showed...
You have to control it with your weight, man.
Yeah, how to control it, how to dismount. It was a schooling on how to do a ninja course.
Yeah, and we got to talk about him at the top of the elevator climb. Dude, if there was ever, we kept alluding to it, somebody's going to break their neck. Oh boy.
I thought we were about to have it.
That was terrifying. He had a major close call up there, guys. And not just that, it almost looks like when he was at the top, he was going to roll off. Like, there are just some railings. Luckily, at the bottom railing, there's like this little tiny, maybe like 4-inch panel of like glass plastic or something. But, like, I don't know. I don't think there's any glass between the two major railings. And the dude could have easily, like, in exhaustion, just rolled off and just plummeted. And there is a lot of things about the top of that elevator climb that needs fixing. That thing is terrifying.
I think Ian probably just pointed out every last weakness of the safety on that course at the top of that elevator climb. And I think they're probably going to redesign around that whole run. Like you said, well, we got to block here. We got to make sure we do this. And... yeah, they did bring the elevator up quite close to him, like to try to lower that
Real
distance,
close.
because sometimes they have it way down below when those guys have put their feet up and they're practically doing practically hanging by their feet.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know about you, but I seriously thought he was going to fall backwards.
Yeah, I thought he was going to fall. Like, it wasn't... we've said that before, and I thought, well, I think they've got enough in them. It might be a little... like, I really thought he was going to fall.
Yeah, and I don't know. Once again, it wasn't just that. When he actually was, like, laying down, you can see him rocking. I mean, he could have easily rocked one way or the other, just not even thinking about it, and really, really could have hurt himself. And I don't know. If I have a feeling the producers watching it on the video cameras at the moment probably having a heart attack, dude. So
yeah.
I think there's going to be some modifications for safety concerns with that.
Yeah, but Ian...
luckily, this was the last example that we're going to see probably, well, I shouldn't say that, maybe in stage 1, but I don't know. We've made it through the finals at this point, so luckily no major injuries or anything.
Yeah. So that was the Palm Run of the Night. Ian did an amazing job.
And not just Palm Run of the Night, tied for the Athletically Profound Run of the Night. Congratulations. Y'all knew it was coming.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, Ian did a great job. Another solo finisher, not to spoil the fact that we still have Megan's run to cover, but Ian was the solo finisher this time, so he adds his name with Drew Dreschel and Daniel Gill, also solo finishers this year. So moving on to our final run of the night, we had Meagan Martin, who had a little segment on her travel, because now she's doing ninja and her climbing and modeling and 100 other things. So she's busy and traveling and whatnot.
She sure is.
Yep.
It was just a whatever segment.
Yeah,
like,
it kind of...
this is what I'm doing.
It's one of those, we're running out of things to talk about with these people kind of segments, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But Megan's great. She did struggle a bit on the bouncing spider, and she was able to beat the rail runner this time. Not that surprising. I mean, you give her a second chance at an obstacle, I feel like she's definitely going to take it down.
Yeah, especially when we saw her on the Rail Runner in the qualifiers. It was more of a technique issue than anything else, and she had her, wolf pack to pretty much tell her, like, hey, maybe try this, and switch up your technique. I wasn't too worried about her.
Yeah, and she moved on and ended up going out on the Wedge. So a great run from her. Not as always, like she's very, very consistent.
Yeah.
So that was it for the episode. Great episode overall. I liked it. It was kind of middle of the road, I guess. I shouldn't say great. It was good.
Yeah, it was a fun episode. The 2 hours flew by, and that's all I can ask for. The episode's struggling when you're like, oh man, we're only halfway through. I mean, I didn't feel that at all this episode, so I enjoyed it, and we got a lot of really, really fun runs. I mean, there were some really, really cool runs in this episode, so that's all I can ask for. And it's crazy, dude. Like, next week we are going to Vegas Finals. How crazy is that?
Summer flew by.
Dude, yes. And I'm really excited. I talked about it last year, but I really feel like we're going to see a lot of really new, interesting obstacles, and especially Stage 1, probably Stage 2 as well. And I'm really curious to see how a lot of these competitors tackle some of the obstacles that were giving them trouble last year. It's weird that the double wedge isn't there, but obstacles like the wedge that tripped up a lot of people, I feel like are the obstacles that a lot of these competitors are going to train for in preparation this year. So I'm really curious to see how people tackle it. I have to imagine there's going to be more than 3 people at Stage 3. I could be completely wrong, but I'd be pretty shocked if we didn't get more than 2 people at Stage 3.
I would be shocked if we don't have more than one woman finish Stage 1. I'm going to say it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point also. I do expect another woman. I feel like Jessie Graf's going to complete Stage 1 again, and I seriously feel like there's another female that's also going to complete Stage 1. Now, obviously, people think Jessie Lebrecht, but I wouldn't be shocked if it could be a handful of ninjas, honestly. There's some really, really talented female competitors this year.
Yeah, I think Meagan or Barclay also definitely could take it down.
Mm-hmm.
Barclay would be interesting because given her height, that would be really, really interesting. So we may have some more epic moments in American Ninja Warrior history to make this year. And speaking of that, this week we've been covering Crashing the Course when it's been available, but just to describe, I guess, we realize now that we haven't been doing along the way. We kind of assumed a lot of knowledge, which we shouldn't be doing. So thank you, Jill Schlesinger, for reaching out to us. Crashing the Course, as we talked about in previous episodes, is on the official American Ninja Warrior YouTube channel. They cover segments on like behind the scenes about the courses themselves. Last year, they also had segments called 24 Before, where they interviewed some of the ninjas.
Big fan.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. They've been giving us lots of extra bonus content. So if you subscribe to American Ninja Warrior's official YouTube channel, you'll see these, what they call digital exclusives, and it kind of gives some extra stuff. And this week, they have like 3 or 4 videos, so we decided to pick one of them, and this one's called Epic Moments in ANW History, and it just shows highlights from the past seasons that we all love. So, Bijan, what did you think of the video overall?
It was fun. I mean, I don't know. They're all things. When you think about the history of American Ninja Warrior, they have a lot of the hallmarks. When you go to the comments of the page, there's one noticeable exclusion from this video, which is Jessie Graf's run last year. And I don't know. That's a major, major moment, but at least it wasn't like 5 different things. So they've got, Kevin Bull doing the cannonball backflip. They have Kacy Catanzaro getting up the warped wall. They've got a lot of the really cool moments. So I'm a fan. Yeah. I don't know. It was everything that I've seen before. It just kind of refreshes you. But I think if you're new to American Ninja Warrior, this would be a really, really cool video, and something that you want to show a friend of yours that's kind of on the fence on whether they should watch American Ninja Warrior or not.
That's a good point. It might work. I don't know. Some of it I think you need context for.
That too.
I did appreciate being reminded of Sam Sands with his hurt ankle going up the warp wall. I thought that was cool. One that's not mentioned enough, I think. Robert Ng, I don't remember that. Struggling to keep his balance across that. I don't know why they chose that particular one.
That was a weird one. I mean, I vaguely remember that, but it wasn't like the biggest moment ever. I mean, that's the one where it's like, hey, if you're worried about timing, that's kind of where you could have put the Jesse Graff run.
Yeah, Michael Stanger's run, when he completed the qualifiers, that was really cool.
Najee getting like 5 feet above the warped wall when he ran up it.
Or the flying shelf grab. Why go with the qualifiers and finals, right? Go to the flying shelf grab competition from last year. That was so amazing.
Yeah, but we're nitpicking and all, guys, but really, this was a fun video, and it is cool, especially if you have seen American Ninja Warrior. It does refresh you of, like, some really cool moments in ANW history, so I definitely suggest everybody take a look at it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, like, the greatest thing ever, but it is a fun video to definitely see. And how'd you feel about, they've got, Jeff Britton and Isaac Caldiero at the end, and it just brought me back to, like, it's bittersweet, man. It just brings back all of the memories.
It is definitely a little bittersweet. And that's kind of the nice thing about it. Is, like you said, you can argue about what should be or shouldn't be there. And that's actually kind of half the fun of watching videos like that, right? Is to debate on, oh, why didn't they have this? Or why didn't they have that? That's the fun for me. And I think a lot of people, too, is picking your own favorite moments. So definitely check it out. And as always, with all of these videos that we mention, you can either look through the show notes to get them. I will link them there. And if you can't remember that, just go to ninjapodcast.com. The latest episodes are always right on the front page, and you'll see links to all the YouTube videos and wherever else we're referring to. Mm-hmm. So the next video we're going to talk about is actually the National Ninja League. So this is a regional competition, it's a national competition with regional qualifiers. So across the country, this was a league that was established, 2 years ago when we first started the podcast, actually, by the Bolcheski brothers, and I believe Michelle Warnke as well. Established this league with a lot of different, like the top ninja gyms in the country.
And most importantly, they have video highlights of every single particular competition. And just wish some other, leagues would do the same.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Right. There is another league that doesn't provide that, so it's a little harder for us to cover. But National Ninja League, we've been doing it from the very beginning. We go through the regional qualifiers, and we review the video, and we link that as well. So if you want to check that out, again, ninjapodcast.com. This one we're looking at right now is actually the National Ninja League in NOLA Muscle Park. So the course itself, I liked it. I thought it was really good. It looked kind of straightforward at first. I kind of thought it looked a little on the weaker side, but it just kept going and getting more and more complex and harder as it went along. Did you notice that too, Bijan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at the beginning of the course, I'm like, well, there's nothing I can't really do. And I'm definitely no American Ninja Warrior, so I'm just like, it's cool and all. But then, and when I say that, I'm talking about, like, the devil steps and tire swings and like monkey bars, like just stuff everybody's seen in obstacle courses and stuff. But then they've got some really first of all, they got this crazy nunchuck swing to these flying bars, but the flying bars, you have to land in particular position where you go in a full spread out position, and the bars are marked with tape. So you have like maybe like a 5-inch gap where you have to catch with your hands. So you have to really adjust very quickly in the air. And I can see that tripping up a lot of people. And then you have to do that transition swing to a full other swing where you connect both your hands in pretty much a forearm pull-up position. I don't know a better way of explaining that. But basically, imagine doing a pull-up but with both your thumbs touching each other. And yeah, that was a really cool transition and very simple obstacle that they found a modification to make it a lot more difficult, which I liked. And they've got other ones, like bookshelf grabs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a really tough course. There actually were no finishers.
Because it was timed. I don't know. Every time I see those original things and I hear timed, I'm like, oh, guys, like, that's tough. That's really tough. And I understand you want to make it tough, but at the same time, I I prefer more to see competitors go at their pace of whatever they want to do, because obviously it's going to be the top finishers, or in terms of speed, is going to go move on. So everybody's going to have a sense of urgency. But I don't know, having a crazy time limit is just asking for competitors being cut off and not actually seeing how far they can go.
Yeah, I prefer that they don't have a time limit at all, but I know for logistical reasons, a lot of times they might have them. They just should be generous, I think, when they can. But yeah, so for the women, we had in second place, Deborah Buford, and in first, one of our favorite ninjas, Rachel Brown.
Woo woo! Big fan.
And for the men, we had in third, An Lee. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, unfortunately. In second, Chris Camber, and in first, Ernest Phillips, the winner of last year's National Ninja League.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Ernest Phillips, because I don't know about you, Rich, but this whole season in National Ninja League, I haven't seen a whole lot of Ernest Phillips, and I was like, where is the dude? Like, he was all over last season of NNL, so I don't know. I'm really happy to see him back. Maybe he's been in some other circuits I just, breeze over, but I don't know. I'm really excited to see this guy back in action. He's really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. In this case, he actually timed out. He was actually a perfect example of why the time limit doesn't make sense sometimes, because he timed out on the course. It would have been interesting to see if he could have completed the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So Ernest, just to clarify, when I say he won, he took first place for the regular season.
Going from the regional circuit to maybe a wrestling ring? What do we got next, bro?
We have the retirement of one of the greatest ninjas of all time. I'll say it. Kacy Catanzaro.
I will too.
Has decided to move on in her career, and it seems like she is going to the WWE.
Yeah, first of all, it's crazy that they announced this right before she ran in Vegas, because she made it to Vegas, right, Rich?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, so, what's going on? It kind of spoils, how well she's going to do in Vegas. I think it's pretty safe to assume she's not. Well, I don't know.
She's going out on top. What are you talking about? She's going to take it down and then just retire at the top.
How cool would that be?
That would be pretty cool, actually.
I do not see that happening, but that would be the best. With that said, though, I'm really happy for Kacy. For people that are unaware, though, that are expecting her just to show up on WWE Raw next week, that's not necessarily the case. What she's going to be doing is training at the NXT Performance Center. And WWE, they kind of got a training circuit and show called NXT. And what she's going to be doing is training in Florida from here on out to become a professional wrestler. It's not that simple. Training in professional wrestling takes years and years. Sorry, guys. I followed wrestling all my life. So I'm really excited to see her go into this profession. With that said, she is going to be going in way smaller than most female wrestlers. Of course, most female wrestlers are on the smaller side in general, but she's really, really going to be on the smaller side. And doing a lot of these more tougher styles of wrestling, I'm very curious to see how well she'll be able to hold up. With her gymnastics background, though, she can have an opportunity to be very unique in wrestling with a lot of flips and gymnastic, I guess, things where you're more in control of your body. So I'm really curious to see how well she hones her craft and implements them into professional wrestling. In many ways, I see it 50-50 of her excelling or, just wrestling not working out for her, because a lot of people train in wrestling and it just doesn't end up going well. But I really wish her the best, and, just have some segment. If you really want to keep up of how well she's doing, you might want to watch the show on the WWE Network called NXT, because that's most likely where you're going to see her way sooner than WWE Raw anytime soon. So
now we have something to cover in the off season. Cool.
I'm down for that, but I don't know how much our listeners are going to care for it.
Probably not. Well, we did cover Celebrity Apprentice, so I guess we'll cover about anything. Mm-hmm. So before we go, I want to throw a couple more quick shout-outs. One to Scott Morrison, who sent us his build video for Crank It Up. For those that listened to the last episode, we were very impressed with the Crank It Up obstacle, the replica that we saw in the local competition. And Scott Morrison, who actually built it, has the video on YouTube. If you want to build your own version of Crank It Up, You can check that out. It was very, very cool. And thank you, Scott, for reaching out to us.
And please, more gyms build that, because that is such a cool obstacle. And I'm sure a lot of ninjas really want to try that.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
There's just some obstacles where it's like, oh man, I really want to try that. Crank It Up's one of them. And
a shout out to Kevin Brecky for actually designing it for the show.
Clacker, we can skip. Crank It Up, thumbs up.
DJ Tight Pants, thank you for your continued support. He's continued to help promote the show. Thank you. And Kim Dunaway, thank you for holding my feet to the fire last week to get the episode out the door. That was also very much appreciated. Sometimes I need a little kick in the butt too.
Dude, there was a few.
There was.
I had some people hitting me up being like, yo, where's the episode? I'm like, I don't know.
It's tough.
I think people think that I also like participate in making these episodes. I just provide the voice, guys. All props in the world to Rich. It's not easy editing this. So with that said, get on it, bro.
Yeah, it's basically twice as long when we have a guest. So that's why the guests are a little less frequent than we'd like. We love talking to everybody. It's just a matter of logistically, it's a little bit tough. So thank you all very much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me as @NinjaPodcast on Twitter and Instagram. I am Rich at ninjapodcast.com. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. Shout out to the San Diego State ARC for helping me in my rock climbing, and we'll see how this goes.
So thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace and love, y'all. My hands are completely calloused.